Hello and welcome to another edition of Stockwatch. So as we come to the year end on this 21st of December, and also as we start the trading week, we hear of Boeing being in the headlines again, only this time for the right reasons, as the European regulators have declared that the 737 MAX is finally fit to fly in the skies. And this comes after 2 years almost of it being grounded after the fatal incidents that happened, well, 2 fatal incidents that happened over the last couple of years. So the head of Europe's Aviation Safety Agency has stated the organisation has left no stone unturned in its review of the aircraft and its analysis of design changes made by the manufacturer after the plane was grounded in 2019. So it was already been cleared to resume flights in USA and Brazil, which was reported on the Stockwatch a few weeks ago. But pilots will have to undergo mandatory training again, and each plane will have to go under a test flight to ensure that changes have been carried out correctly. But, and there's also a but in this situation, US regulators have set out similar conditions, but upon doing so, apparently, US Senate investigators said that Boeing's officials inappropriately coached test pilots during efforts to recertify the company's 737 MAX aircraft. So this is a bit of it comes in conjunction at the same time that a European regulator and American regulators have found it fit to fly, but now we're seeing this reports coming out by Senate investigators. So they've accused Boeing and the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration officials, of attempting to cover up important information, whilst the FAA have hit back to say that the Senate Commerce Committee reports contained a number of unsubstantiated allegations. So there's a bit of back and forth there, to and fro in between regulators, especially in America. So we'll see if anything else comes out of the European market and the regulators, as I said, with a few more countries enabling Boeing to start flying again. Could this pick up in the share price of Boeing overall? So the last time we looked at the company shares a couple of weeks ago, I'm looking at it every couple of weeks because there's always seems to be something coming out for Boeing, and it seems that it hasn't actually calmed down at the moment. So we saw this pick up on the yearly low and it actually broke it, but now we're seeing a bit of a come down. So I highlighted these potential peaks before, where we've seen gaps in the weekend market as well. So I'll just zoom into the areas of interest at the moment. So we're seeing prices starting to wane now. So we had these yearly highs, well, not yearly highs, post-pandemic highs, let's say, after the first lockdown, the first wave of the coronavirus. Now we're seeing a bit of prices starting to wane. We've gone through this other peak. Now my next target is going to basically be this other peak here as we go into the end of the year and into January as well. I wanted to see a bit more of a divergence on the momentum indicator here, but as you can see, if I just zoom in a bit more, we've seen a bit of an uptick in momentum. So it seems to be following at the moment. Well, it could be following if prices start moving upwards as well in the same direction. However, this uptick I'm very curious about, because if it keeps on pushing higher, then obviously prices start going lower. There is the divergence there, so it could mean a bit more of a downside, but it could cancel out this current bullish divergence if it comes into play in the next few trading sessions. So as I said, we started the trading week. We have the Christmas and New Year holidays for a lot of people around the world. It doesn't really seem to be affecting Boeing too much, in the fact that, you know, further lockdowns in Europe and the UK especially, you know, a lot of countries are banning flights from the UK now in the last 24 hours, and a lot more countries have acted upon that. So we'll have to see if this will affect Boeing, well, going into the new year as well, and when these air restrictions will be lifted. I just want to drop it down to a 4-hour chart as well, just to get a bit more intraday perspective. And what I'm going to just look at the moment is we've seen quite a big, from the last big gap that we saw. I just want to put a small Fibo in just to see what the potentials are. Nothing too crazy, because as I say, Boeing has been a bit erratic with the recent headlines coming out. And so what I'm looking at the moment, I'm looking at the Ichimoku cloud as a very good indicator for me as well. Obviously, all these targets here are submerged in the Ichimoku cloud. If I see prices keep on falling, you know, we've got 1 target, 2 target, 3 targets. You know, I've got all these targets here. I'll just be looking to cross these off as I put in sell stops, and obviously, you know, keeping my take profits very, very tight as well as prices are expected to kind of, well, start dipping in the next few trading sessions. Aircraft transportation at this time of the year should be booming. It should be, maximum capacity for a lot of people, consumers. But at the moment, it's just not seemed to be happening. There is a prospect of a wave 3 happening in the early part of next year. Is this going to affect tourism, travel? Most probably. We've had the recent optimism of the vaccinations coming out as well, but the sad reality is there's not going to be enough vaccinations for everyone, even if other companies step up to create other antidotes, like Johnson & Johnson. We've had Pfizer as well. We're having other companies trying to make their own vaccinations as well. So not going off the subject too much, but all these factors will probably come into play in the aviation industry in January and going forward into the first quarter of 2021. So just things to look out for in the next couple of trading sessions. So that's all from the Stock Watch today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have any comments or questions, as usual, please feel free to add them to the post, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great trading day ahead, and bye for now.